Hello to those of us who are here. Thank you for coming along this evening and joining us once again. Welcome back to UniSec Global's Mission Idea Contest lecture series. And unfortunately, today we did have our fifth lecture scheduled for you, which we've had to postpone until tomorrow. Feel free to stick around though, because I'll be going through a presentation very briefly, just as an overview of some of the other details we haven't covered so far for the requirements for MIC7, as well as writing an abstract and advice from reviewers as you put together your mission idea. So I do hope that you've had a little bit of time to consider your mission idea. Tonight's session is going to be rather informal, so please feel free to turn on your camera if you'd like to. After the presentation, we can go to a Q&A session, as well as we're interested to hear your thoughts on the lectures so far. So if you do have any feedback for us, we would love to hear it. But I think what I might do is I might just begin going through this brief presentation. So this is just an overview of the contents of what's in this presentation. We won't spend too long on most of these because we have covered most of this before. But this first slide here, mainly the point that I want to get across here is the important dates. The first date's actually wrong though, I just noticed. Should be 7th of the 7th, so 7/7/21. The abstract submission date is due. So please make sure that you have your abstracts completely delivered by that date. We will be opening up the registration portal soon for you to be able to register and submit your abstracts, but we don't want to open it up too early. We want to give you some time to actually consider everything first. And the process that will happen from there is that it'll go to a review panel, and then some finalists will be selected and notified by the 18th of August. And at that point, you can begin writing your full paper at any point, but at that point you really have to get to work writing the full submission for the paper, because that will be due on the 30th of September. And good news, we have picked a date for the final presentation, which will be on the 13th of November. We still have not determined yet whether this will be in person or online, dependent on COVID-19 restrictions, but we will see how we go with that one and update you further as we know more. So a little bit of background for MIC7 for those of you who are interested and don't know. It was launched in 2010. And the whole purpose of the Mission Idea Contest is that we're looking at ways that you can be engaged in the industry, whether you're an aerospace engineer student, just interested, and it's an avenue for you to be able to come up with and present credible and creative ideas. It's a professional development tool. It's a tool that you can use for collaboration. And there's been quite a bit of success from the previous Mission Idea contests, as well as the result of 4 books, which have been published by the IAA book series. So there have been workshops and Mission Idea contests that have run from 2011 through to 2018. And these books are also available for you to read if you would like, or purchase. Now, we've covered the requirements for the Mission Idea Contest 7 previously, but just very briefly we'll go over them. There is an envelope size as well as a mass limitation on the spacecraft, and you need to be looking at a cislunar orbit or deep space trajectory with an excess velocity greater than 0 kilometers per second. And there is a spacecraft mass relationship, which I'll show you in a moment. You can assume for communication you can use a transponder that's on board of Procyon, and you can assume that you can use deep space network Earth ground stations, as well as have 8 hours of continuous operation for the spacecraft every day. The lifetime itself is a free parameter. It doesn't matter how long the spacecraft would be in operation for. That's up to you. We don't have a restriction on that, but you need to consider the effects of radiation and whether your lifetime is actually feasible as well. and the proposed launch date should be before 2030. So this is the relation between the square of the excess velocity and the launch weight, the mass of the spacecraft at launch. So once I said the excess velocity has to be greater than 0 kilometers per second, and the square of the excess velocity has to be fall within this relation that's shown in figure 1. And this is also found on the Mission Idea Contest website. So you can go there if you would like this figure. One thing that we haven't touched on in the content that we've delivered so far in the lectures is communication system. And so that is our final lecture for you, which is now happening tomorrow. I'll just reiterate that again, same time and same Zoom link details. But I just wanted to give you some brief overview about that. You can assume that you can use the transponder and the power amplifier that was on board Procyon in that communication system. And the RF power for the communication system can be roughly 50 watts and 15 watts respectively. And obviously, like I said before, you can use Earth ground stations for deep space missions. Okay, so more information about the communication system is going to be coming to you tomorrow, and hopefully you'll get a little bit more insight into the requirements to suit your particular mission. Mentioned previously is that there are other considerations that we would like to see in your submission for your mission ideas. And this includes the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So if you can demonstrate one or more than one of the Sustainable Development Goals in the design of your mission, that would be fantastic. We would love to see it. The reviewers will be taking that into consideration when they are reviewing your abstracts and your final submissions, as well as incorporating a way that your mission proposal may somehow contribute to Vision 2030 All, which is UNICEF Global's initiative. So you can go to the UNICEF Global website if you'd like more information on Vision 2030 All, and you can also go to United Nations website if you would like more information on the specifics of the Sustainable Development Goals. This is the evaluation criteria metric that we have put together for evaluation, and you can see that there is a focus on your idea being novel. So that has quite a hefty focus, as well as the impact that your mission would pose to society, or the potential outcomes from your mission. Obviously, there has to be a focus on engineering as well, because you have to have an accurate technical description of the challenge that you're facing, how you're going to overcome those challenges, what technology is involved, and the engineering behind it, as well as the systems that you're employing. And then finally, the feasibility of the project. You could obviously propose any idea, but it has to be something that is feasible and realistic. We don't technically require a budget or development schedule for this particular mission idea contest, but if you can demonstrate that it is financially feasible or achievable, then that will also be held in high regard and strongly considered. So a few reasons why you should definitely submit your abstract. If you've been thinking about it and attending these sessions, we know you're interested, but we really want to see creative ideas from our attendees and our participants. There are many reasons for you to join the competition, even if it's just for the experience, which is one that I haven't listed on this slide. And number 3 here, you've already hopefully been receiving the benefit of, which is attending the free lectures that we have been putting together for you. But look, as a professional development tool, something like this really goes a long way. If you can, achieve first or second place, or maybe the student prize, the IAA award, or even just contributing and being selected as a finalist, those things on your resume, on your CV, go a long way and are obviously a credit to you. It's the little things that you do, particularly as a student, which really add value for a recruiter when they're looking at employing you later. Those points of differentiation. Anybody, almost anybody, can go and complete a degree, or perhaps an engineering degree. But what is the point of differentiation which sets you apart? And competing in the Mission Idea Contest is certainly a point of differentiation which will make you stand out. So, brief outline of the schedule once again. I know we've spoken about this a few times, but these are the key dates. As I mentioned, the notification of the finalists. There'll be roughly 10 finalists which we will be choosing from a review team of the abstracts which we have submitted, and the notification of those finalists will occur by the 18th of August, and then you'll have a bit over a month to write and submit your final paper for presentation at the meeting in November, the 13th. I just wanted to also touch on something we haven't really spoken about, which is the role of Mission Idea Contest coordinators. There are coordinators in many regions and countries around the world, and these are people who are going to be mentoring you, coordinating within their region for MIC7 activities, and linking, students together who potentially want to work on projects together. So if you are currently looking at submitting just as an individual, and you did want to look at and see if there's like-minded people who could form a team, then your Mission Idea Contest coordinator in your region could be a person that you could actually reach to see if they can help facilitate that, as well as to ask for advice, or to even be pointed in the right direction for other people who you might be able to ask advice of. So the list of Mission Idea Contest coordinators will be updated soon, and that will be displayed on the website. And this is a map from a few years ago, just showing the points of contact for the Mission Idea Contest regional coordinators and where they are located. That is near you. So this is something which you're all probably interested in, which we've touched on a little bit, but there are going to be some awards and potentially prizes. These are to be confirmed, but we are looking at a first and second place award, potentially a student prize and an IAA award. And we will have further details regarding the awards and prizes as we get closer to the abstract submission date, and then obviously closer to the final selection date. But just keep this in mind, because this is a competition after all. It's a contest, so we do want to reward excellence, be it with an award or a prize, and we will endeavour to get you details around those as soon as we can. So I wanted to just quickly touch on writing an abstract. Now, you can find the abstract template online at the Mission Idea Contest website, but I thought it would probably be beneficial just to quickly go over some of the things that you really need to touch on. So the first thing is your mission objectives. So this is your where and your why, and this has been spoken about by almost every lecturer actually that we've had. Some people put more importance on the where and some put more importance on the why, but this is really the basis of your mission. So being able to create a clear and accurate description of the mission objectives and what you're actually looking at trying to achieve really has to be the fundamental piece of your mission design idea. If you can't describe it well, we won't understand it well, our reviewers won't understand it well, and that will reflect badly on their ability to assess the viability of the mission. And the concept and operations, including the orbital design. So we'll be looking for things here like the use of diagrams, figures, mathematical tools, potentially, simulations, those types of things, if you're able to produce them, will go a long way, because it helps describe the design that you've actually undertaken, that process, and it helps describe in more than just words what will actually be happening. And then additional considerations, so talking about your originality, or something that sets your mission apart, or why it may be needed as like a bonus point. Apart from that, we have things like key performance parameters. So, these are the parameters that you're looking at achieving for maybe it's, a bit rate of data transmission, or things that you need, the specific technology that you need, the benchmarks in order to achieve your specific mission. So this should be completely different among all of you, unless you're somehow doing an identical mission. And this should be how you are determining the success of your mission as an indicator. And the space segment description. So the conceptual design of your satellite system. All right, so we're looking at the specifications of the system that you're employing. And there's a range of things which I've listed here on this slide as to what those specifications could look like, as well as the inclusion of diagrams, CAD drawings, those types of things, and references. An extremely important part of any academic publication is referencing, and correct referencing. So please make sure you use a consistent style for your references, and please make sure your references are of high quality. That cannot be stressed enough. You do not want to be quoting references from sources which are not well respected or peer reviewed. You want to be quoting, peer reviewed sources and experts in the industry with proven, knowledge and results. So please make sure you check the credibility of your sources. And that actually follows directly into the next point, which is some of the advice from reviewers. So previously, reviewers have seen common mistakes that have been made, or areas of improvement, let's say, which would have made a substantial difference to the submission quality for abstract submissions. And the first one is literature research, to make sure that you actually have the ideas, the knowledge, the background to support your idea in your mission, and that you can actually quote that effectively by using high quality references in your literature review. And then following on from that, if you aren't an expert in this particular field, which many of us aren't going to be, looking at ways that you can confirm that the ideas that you have for your mission are actually feasible. You want to make sure that you're proposing a mission idea which is realistic. We're looking for something innovative or creative or something novel, but it still has to be realistic or within the sphere of what's achievable. And if there's a particular point of technology, for instance, which you require in order to achieve it, or to increase the efficiency, or to make it a little bit more successful, then actually listing what that is also a good idea, to actually highlight the deficits or the shortfalls that you can see in the mission idea, and what would be required in order to solve it. Because if you can identify a technology gap, and it's still feasible as long as that technology gap can be closed, perhaps you can present research which is currently being conducted into filling that technology gap. And so then what may appear as an infeasibility in your mission design actually seems a little bit more realistic. And then lastly, to seek the advice of an advisor or a mentor. And this could be an expert in the field. It could be your coordinator, could be a university professor, but somebody who has a little bit more knowledge, or that you can run your ideas past, and particularly not just your ideas, but also your writing. Your abstract submission has to be submitted in English. And so having another person who can read what you've written and give you some feedback about the structure and the form and the content and how it could be improved is only going to be to your benefit. So if you can allow for time and find somebody suitable who can assist you with that, it will go a long way in the quality of your submission. Okay, so with that, we do have the call for proposals. The abstract maximum length is 5 pages, and the template for the abstract, as I've mentioned a few times, can be downloaded from the Mission Idea Contest website. And once again, I've just listed the important dates here for you once again, but all of this information is available on the website as well.